Welcome back. This is another episode of the Knuckle Head Podcast. I'm your co-host Quan.
And I'm your co-host thisNow.
And we here connecting the dots and building the bridge from the 1%ers to the 99%. Right? So on today's episode, we're actually going to be covering a couple of key and pivotal, and I believe relevant topics in today's society, and that's unlearning bad habits.
Man, how many bad habits have you actually occurred over your time?
Man, that's a great question, bro. Bad habits, definitely, especially coming from a minority community, definitely have a lot of bad habits. So, the standards, watching too much television, not paying attention to books, not being financial literate, things like that. And I think, not having, once you kind of learn those habits, it's very hard to break it. It takes a very self-reflective person to look back and be like, oh, well, okay, or maybe I need to change things up. You know what I mean? What about you? What are some bad habits you picked up along the way?
Man, that social media is a thing.
Boy, that too. That's a good one. I didn't even bring that up, man.
That was a bad habit. Back in my heydays, it was women.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, man. Listen.
Let's keep it 100. Back in my heydays, it was women, and then also, I love sports. So there was a lot of times I would actually not go to work. My 9-to-5 job in my 20s. Oh,
you trying to go to the league?
I was, bro. I felt like I can do it.
Right. Now, man, listen, I hear you.
And then also, a lot of times we don't look at it, but hang around like that crowd. I love what I saw they had.
Mm-hmm.
It looked good at a certain point in time, especially when I was young. Like their lives looked like, okay, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
I want it. Not knowing what the outcome and whatever, but
right.
I
at
want
the moment.
that quickness.
Yeah.
That quickness. So, though, man, I had a lot of bad habits. Halfway doing some procrastination.
So let me ask you this now.
Right.
To kind of divvy into this topic a little bit further. What was probably the hardest bad habit that you were aware of that took time for you to break?
Procrastination.
Okay, what about procrastination, specifically?
So it's two sides to that.
Mm-hmm.
One, I would wait to the last minute, or I would start but never finish.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it was so hard to break is because when I started off with a bang.
Right.
So say if it was money-wise, I came out swinging, I made more money than the average person that would start.
Right.
But on the other end, if I waited to the last minute, it always came out good.
So you had your back against the wall kind of mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
But then as I was running into different mentors and individuals that went the whole race, or I'll say race,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that they didn't have too much stress, pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't, at the last minute, it wasn't crunch where, I wonder if they have it. And also, their success after that time frame, the continuation of success, they had a longer run than I did.
Right.
If I waited till the last minute,
you had spurts.
Yeah, it was like, oh, boom, we did it. Oh,
Yeah.
boom, we did it.
Yeah.
And that hindered me in life, and I had to break it, and it took a lot to break. It took a lot to break,
So it sounds like, and this is just outside looking at it sounds like because you were able to surround yourself with mentors that help you realize time is your biggest commodity, that allowed you to be more strategic on how you manage your time to kind of combat the procrastination piece.
Correct, 100%. And also to piggyback on that is basically time, and then they start telling me, hey, why waste 75% of the time that you do have?
Mm-hmm.
Let's leverage that.
Right.
You're looking to take life to this level. Let's leverage every second you got. And it took a while because I'm a knucklehead for real. I was like, okay, whatever. I still made this money.
Wow.
But then they're like, but this person, they're not as good as you, but they make more than you.
Right. Just off of work ethic.
Yeah, y'all still had the same time frame.
Right.
So when they start when you break down the numbers to me, where the numbers tied to a behavior and the behavior is tied to my why,
It clicks at that point.
It's a no-brainer, man. It's a no-brainer.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's time. See how time just happened like that? You see how time just happened
We here, baby. We here.
I like that.
We here. We practicing what we preach on this side.
Yeah.
For sure. So now that we're kind of jumping into that, so kind of divvying into this more, let's dive a little bit deeper. Like, what are you feel like some of the causes of bad habits? Like, what do you feel like it's like? If you could name the top 3, what are the causes that can contribute to bad habits?
One, it can be taught. One is praise, because some people praise bad habits.
Yeah.
And 3, I said 1. 3, wow, what's the third one? The third one. Our mindset, our stubbornness, our willingness to not break those habits because of being afraid of what can happen of the unknown, not knowing what could happen. Maybe, off the top of my head, I would say those would be the 3.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
For me, I think culture, definitely. I think sometimes you can inherit bad habits, like you kind of touched on. And I think the last one is probably lack of exposure, right? Like, for example, if you grow up in a impoverished community, when you're a kid, when you become a teen, when you become an adult and go into adulthood, that's all you know. So to hear somebody like, I got a mentor, that you know of, he charges $400,000 just for 8 hours of his time. But unless you're around people where that's a normalcy, that seems like outlandish.
That's crazy.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think the exposure, my level of exposure and willing to your point you kind of touched on is being comfortable with the uncomfortable, allowed me to have more awareness where I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I was picking this up. Let me correct that now. So I would say those are the 3 probably.
Man, so to let you answer this question you just asked me, what are the key things in your life? I'm trying to think of how you word it, and I could be I'm probably off. What are the key things in your life as a child? I'm just go off the top of my head or something else. You inherited that impact you when it comes to bad habits.
Shoot, man. You know what? Because I love what we're doing here and I believe in it so much. Like, let's get deep. So I know for me, temper. Like, you know me, I'm a competitor. Like,
you are a competitor.
I'm a competitor. If I
it don't matter who it is.
I'm gonna be out. You know what I mean? That's just because I don't know. It's a curse and a blessing because I feel like I got my confidence from my father. You know what I mean? He's a very confident individual, and he kind of instilled that value in me to always be confident in yourself and what you could do. And for the most part, that helped me. That led me to go to college and actually finish. That led me to go to college and get a master's. That gave me the confidence to move out of where my family lived at the time, New York, and go explore Philadelphia and find out what I can do by myself, right? So I inherited that, but then the bad part, you got to deal with the bad. He had a very short temper. You know what I mean? He's a guy who was very, same thing with him. He inherited that probably from his father, not knowing as well, where he had a short temper. He didn't know how to deal with conflict. It was just real sporadic, right? And my mom is kind of the same, where it didn't help either, because she's similar in that regard, where short temper, short fuse. Hard to do anything for you, but you cross a certain line, it's like, yeah. So that's one thing I would say from my childhood that I can pinpoint, I know where I got that from. And even now, I don't think bad habits, like the ones at least you inherit, I don't think those ever go away, but you do become more knowledgeable on how to counteract them and deal with them. So, from a child perspective, I throw it back at you. What was some experience or something that you noticed as a child was like something like, oh, okay, I can see where I got that from?
As a child, wow. And we said 99% of this, I just gotta keep it 100 with you.
Right.
My father was a slipster, and he used his abilities not for good. And bad habits, like I said, I at one point loved women. I still do love women. Don't get me wrong, but you know what I'm saying,
the infatuation.
And not even with them, but just in everything I was doing growing up, I was just good at it. my words were great. I knew how to articulate, how to
Fast talk.
I was good. And I'm from the South.
Yeah.
And
well, that's a daily combo.
You know what I mean?
So
So
they expect it from somebody from the city.
Right.
When they come from the South, it's like, what?
So that was my blessing and my curse, because I used it not always for good.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me into a lot of things that I wouldn't say I regret, but if I could change the times, I probably would.
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of, I would say, opened my eyes up and made me realize, hey, how can I change these bad habits so that they can start trending in the right direction, breaking those bad habits? What I started doing is I started writing, like I write everything down when I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing it down. Okay, so I'm doing, how's that impacting me positive? How's this impacting me negative?
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at it from different elements. And it wasn't just me, because most people won't go to a mental health therapist. Most people won't go and talk about their past. Most people are afraid to, oh, well, I'm fine. You're not fine. You're not fine. It's okay to go to a therapist. I'm going to just say that. It's okay. I went to a therapist. They walked me through that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I started realizing I can use my gift consistently for good, because the bad I was doing was taken away from who I was as a person. And when I started transitioning and working on myself, I mean, I went through hell and high water, but the outcome came out good. Breaking bad habits is doable. You can break the chain, like you can break it. But you answer that. How did you break? Break every chain.
He went gospel. He went gospel.
So how did you break the chain?
I think honestly, I don't think it was me, right? I think I was just, I believe in a higher power, and I just think exposure, definitely I give credit to my father for like pulling me, because I had lived in a really bad part of, not a bad part, but a very, like, it's easy to go down the wrong path in the neighborhood I was in New York at the time. So my father literally pulled me, as inconvenient as I could imagine would be for him, right? He pulled me from where I was at, pretty much took me from middle school all the way through high school. And as much as our relationships can be rocky because we're so much alike, I always gave that man his credit, because I'm like, no matter what, whether I hated it, whether I didn't like it, whether I had good times, bad times, like, that saved my life, you know what I mean? And I think seeing someone give that much of their care to be like, listen, regardless of how you feel about me, I'm gonna put you in a position to succeed, made me feel like I was indebted, right? So how I broke my habits was like, man, I can't be a procrastinator in college, man. I got people taking out loans for me,
right,
trying to help me, propel me, right? Because it takes a village. So just really having that sense of family and duty, and understanding that people, you didn't get here by yourself. So
right,
the least you could do is honor them by their efforts and by doing the right thing and excelling at whatever you decide, right? Like, not to say college is for everybody, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm pretty sure you do too, that necessarily didn't go the college route.
right.
But if you're in the position to go and it's not such an inconvenience, yeah, like, I think it's crazy. It used to be crazy to me, and I never said this publicly, how, like, I would see guys and females go to college for 5 years, 6 years. I'm like, you're wasting all these resources that your family had to scrap together to get you here, and you just blowing it away. You smoking every day, you drinking every day.
Not doing nothing.
Not saying you can't have a good time, but just seeing their mistakes, I'm like, I can't allow myself to go down that path. I mean, I don't even know what I would do if I went down that road. So that's kind of how I broke my bad habits. Really just being aware and being appreciative of people that gave a damn, to be honest with you.
For real. So in that, right, I know we were kind of talking about ourselves, but I want to talk to the 99 percenters.
Mm.
What are some bad habits in business that come to mind? What are some bad habits that come to mind when it comes to business? What would you say?
From a business perspective, I think procrastination is a big one. I think that's like, procrastination kills dreams, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say time management. Well, I guess that goes with procrastination, but I would say just really, I know people think it's such a cliche like mindset, but mindset really matters. Like, if you you can really, it's remarkable that the human brain is able to really conceive anything it wants to. So if you believe you're going to be successful, you want to be successful, and you focus on that, you'll eventually get there.
Right.
If you don't, then you focus on whatever you focus on, right? So I think mindset definitely is the second one. If I had to give one more, I think like financial literacy. I think where a lot of entrepreneurs struggle, even when they become successful, is, okay, I'm successful, what do I do now? Because we're so focused in a society and been programmed to chase that bag. Okay, once I have the money, what do I do now? Am I supposed to invest it? Am I supposed to hold it? Am I supposed to put it in the savings account? What do I do once I arrive?
That's true.
Because those decisions ultimately determines sustainability. It's not anybody can come up with a great idea and become a millionaire. I mean, that's what America, that's bread and pudding right there. That's what America was built on. But are you able to sustain it? Are you able to not just elevate your life, but elevate the people's lives around you?
Right.
And I think if you're able to do the latter, that really determines how successful you really are, right?
100%.
What about you? What do you think is three top bad habits or bad habits to be aware of as an entrepreneur?
Man, I'm gonna go with one big one. One big one, and you kind of touched on it. So I'm gonna go with time management. Matter of fact, two. Time management, and I know that goes with procrastination, but there's times that we put our time into so much, like over here, where we're not even ready to be over here. Like I want to put all my efforts into marketing. And then you put all your efforts into marketing, and then you turn around and you don't even have a product that's ready. How are you going to put all your efforts into one thing and you're not prepared and ready for the next, right? So that's it. We use our time, and we may be, I'm doing yada yada yada, but your priority is off. You need to build the ark before you get into the water, right?
Right.
The next one is you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started to be great. Too many of us, and you and I, we talked about it. I tell people all the time, if whatever I'm doing, give me the bare minimum, and I'm gonna make that a multi-million-dollar thing. And the reason is because Amazon started somewhere. Tesla started somewhere. Walmart started somewhere. Wasn't Amazon in the garage?
Absolutely.
Wasn't Apple? They started in the garage.
Yep.
With the bare minimum. So why are we trying to go to driving a Tesla today when we just got started yesterday? A lot of people sit on their dreams and they don't make movement because they feel like they don't have the right things. Start with what you got. We have the bad habits of trying to be what we see on TV instead of trying to be ourselves. Break that habit. Start with what you got and build that thing to where now you don't even have to worry about who's going to record you. You don't have to worry about who's going to show up, because at one point in time you started somewhere, but down the line there's going to be the masses that's begging you to actually video you, begging you to come to your shows, begging you for your products. You don't have to put nothing out, but they're begging you for the opportunity just to be next to you because they saw the grind. If they never see the grind, you'll never get a dime.
That's a bar too. That's a bar. That's a bar. That is a bar. Yeah, he messed me up. I couldn't even find that one, y'all. I couldn't even find that one. That's a banger. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, man, we could go far into media propaganda, but that's like a whole nother episode.
Right.
So, all right, so let's pivot. So the next topic, like kind of segueing into what we're discussing today, is learning. So we kind of talked about like the procrastination piece, right? And the value of time and how that regulates to where you want to be and how it correlates with being successful. So now let's talk about a topic that's very hard for a lot of people. And sometimes I still struggle with it myself when I'm being candid. Learning to say no. First of all, let's just break that phrase down. Let's get that out the way. What does learning to say no mean to you?
Man, being able to evaluate what's really going on and paying attention to those that are drying you out. But all in all, just that phrase alone, learning to say no, is just being able to set boundaries, being able to know where you are and if you're capable to do it. learning to not let people just run over. Man, I can go on all day. Learning to say no at the end of the day is standing on what no means. N-O. Not now, not here. Go to your next opportunity.
I'm with you 100%.
Oh man, I get hyped about this.
He liked this topic.
Yes.
It's gonna be a good episode. Listen, we just getting started.
Oh,
It's gonna be a great episode. So I mean, like, okay, so learning to say no, I would say is probably one of the. It's funny we didn't even mention it, but like, it kind of goes into time management. So yeah, I agree with you. I think we as people aren't taught to establish or enforce healthy boundaries enough. So we always feel obligated to say, okay, I'll do it. And don't get me, like with minorities, I know that's like really big on our culture, right? Because for a long period of time throughout this country being built, all we had was to depend on with each other. So it was hard to say no to someone that looked like me. I'm like, man, I relate to your pain, man. We're in the same boat, right? In the grand scheme of things. So I think definitely like saying no is a skill you have to have and have to develop. Because I think if you don't, you risk saying yes and it being detrimental to your dreams and your ambitions because you're trying to be, and the truth of the matter is you can't please everybody, right? Unfortunately, the last person that I believe was perfect and that man that tried to please everybody was written in the book 2,000 years ago, and that didn't end too well. So I mean, it just goes to show you know what I mean? He was perfect last time I checked, so I don't have a chance. That's how I look at it.
Man, you notice what? So think about this, right? And matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you a question. If you talk to someone and a person, you go like, hey, King Mal, hey Mal, do you want to go and go play basketball, right? And I say no. What's most people's follow up?
Oh, what? You're not trying to hoop or something like that? I feel like that's what you use.
Yeah.
Or what you want? We need one or something like that. I don't know.
Or why?
Why you not coming? Yeah. Like,
Right.
Stop crying.
Watch this. Now, hey, yo, King Mal, hey Malcolm, whatever. You want to go play basketball? Yeah. Let's do it. What's your thing? What you gonna say?
Yeah, I don't got nothing to say.
Boom. We never question the person when they say yes, but we always question them when they say no.
Wow, you just threw me through a loop. Because I was lost. I was like, what are you talking about?
Right, my boy, my homeboy, my brother from another mother, G, shout out to G. He one day I was asking him, I said, bro, I want to go out of the country, I want to go do this. Nah, man, I don't really want to do it. Why? He said, why do I have to answer why? Because if I would say yes, you would not have asked me why. Yeah. And I just stood there, like I was like, dang, like one, I felt disrespected, but two, you're right.
Yeah, like I have nothing to say. That's a great response.
You're right. So, is it that psychologically most people are afraid to actually have an answer to the no, why don't you want to do it? So we don't say no because we don't really have an answer. It may just because we just don't want to. Right. So we say yes.
Yeah. I think it's a guilty thing. Like to your point, like we're so conditioned to feel obligated to say yes to us. Right. That we won't even subconsciously be aware that we're like, this don't really do nothing for me, you know what I mean? But then, you know, like I said, I think that goes into really like having healthy boundaries, right? And it's having like, okay, it's Tuesday, I'm only gonna allocate a certain amount. You know what it is? Now that we're kind of unraveling this, it's being intentional with your time, right? And this definitely this just got downloaded too, from up above. But what I mean by that is like, have intentions on the things you do, right? Like you can try to manage everything you care about, but be intentional with your time. Like, okay, I'm going to dedicate 2 hours to this, 3 hours to this. And I think if you do that time and time again, what will happen is you'll develop the muscle and the skill set to be able to say, hey man, not this time, maybe next week. And not feel bad about it because you're intentional. Like, listen man, I'm doing X, Y, Z, I gotta focus on these areas. I don't have time to, to do something recreation at the moment. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it is.
So what are the disadvantages of saying yes? Always saying yes. What's the disadvantages?
Oh man, I do this. It's funny, man. I have a very giving heart, always have, and sometimes it's been great because I don't do it for recognition. That's just the genuine person. If I see you in trouble and I can help you, my natural instinct is to help a hand. So, but it's been times where I've taken a hit financially. where I'm talking about like right out of college too. Just got a part-time job, but I'm taking a hit and just eating it. But I think like it puts you in a position of vulnerability and exposure. And the sad part about it is the person that you said yes to may not be even able to help you after you already inconvenienced yourself and put yourself in harm's way to help them. Which is nothing, it happens in life, but it's just like, you just put yourself in a bad situation to help somebody else, and now you don't want any help.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the biggest risks with saying yes.
I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree. The biggest disadvantage, just like you said, is we end up helping individuals and leaving ourselves where we are. Like, we don't think about us. We think about everybody else. And when it's all said and done, you have to make sure you are good for others. So, yeah, that disadvantage is just on a whole other level. And it's horrible, because I feel if we get to the point where we can set boundaries,
B word. That word right there. I'm learning.
Yeah. we can set boundaries. You know how far along these individuals that automatically say yes, how far along they'll be in life. Like, boundary, man. When the last time you set a boundary?
Honestly, I try to be, because I'm so intentional with my time, I'm flexible for the most part, but there are certain things like I'm just not tolerating. So, you know, for me, like, I wasn't really a big going out person, right? Like, I just recently started, you know, going out, being social, because a friend of mine was down here and stuff, you know, I'm not that guy. Like, if you want to hang out here and there, I might, but for me, like, really just being intentional with my time really has, like, changed where I put my time at, where I don't invest my time at, things like that. So, and that's something that I practice. I try to practice every day. Now, there are occasions where you gotta be flexible, you know, family, personal matters, but that's where I really try to put a big emphasis. Like, when I say I'm gonna, for example, go play basketball with the fellas these amount of days, that's what I'm gonna do, like, for that amount of time. Now, if there's something else I wanna do along the way, depending on the priorities, or how much it affects my day-to-day schedule, I may make flexibility, but for the most part, I'm very, like, religious with my time. What about you?
My commitment. I set boundaries with that, man. If I'm committed. I have different layers. If I'm committed to, I'm committed to my, obviously, the Most High. Then I'm committed to my family. Then I'm committed to my obligations. And if I put it into my obligations, then I look at it from a standpoint of, okay, well, the family taken care of, let me set that up, and let me handle everything that I said I'm gonna do. And it's just one of those things that anything outside of it, I mean, if it fits in, I'm cool with it. But if it don't fit in,
I'm not gonna force
I'm setting boundaries. Like, it. So my energy means a lot to me. My time means a lot to me. My finances, because that takes care of my family. But when I talk energy, like, when you position, hey, come on this, bro, I kid you not, I've been other people, yo, let's do this. I don't want to say no.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
I could speak on
it. It was only one I did before. Out of that one, in between, there was multiple. I'm like, nah, like, I can't rock with you. Yeah. Nah, I'm good. Like, what are we gonna talk about?
Right.
Or we're gonna sit there and we're gonna be talking, and then all you do is cursing. Now, like, I know my energy is going.
Vibration, right?
Yeah, I can't.
I get you.
Like,
I get you.
So it's just one of those things. So I set boundaries for the things that mean the most, because if your energy not right, you're gonna start being depressed. If your time is not good, you're gonna be depressed, stressed out. If your finances don't hit where it needs to hit because you didn't do the other two, bills gotta be paid. I mean, you just gotta look at things a different way, and that's how I align my boundaries. I tell my mom, hey, we'll be on the phone. She'll be, hey, yo, Ma, I love you. Hey, but I gotta focus on my energy.
I'm locked in right now.
She be like, well, I gotta call you back. I love you. Everybody not like that, but that's just me, and it works.
So, kind of progressing. So, how do you find comfort in making those decisions when you are enforcing those boundaries?
Oh, I like that. Because I know I'm not just doing it for me.
Okay.
I'm doing it for not only me, but then I got a son.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I got a family. I got the missus. I got people that depend on me. So when I set the boundaries, it's for the future, not for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just saying no to you today. I just got that no could be, it may not even affect me today, but
Mm-hmm.
next week it will.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at future tense.
Right, right.
This is what's
Past, present, and
right,
future.
right.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think definitely being able to, and I think that society has like, especially in like nowadays, you see a lot of society like kind of perpetuating this sense of, oh, it's okay, you can make everybody happy, you can do it all, and it's like,
Can't make no.
you know what I mean? It's not reality. Like you'll sit there and make yourself miserable, or better yet, you'll seek out to try to make adjustments for everybody else that you wind up losing yourself, and then there's nothing left for you. And it's just like, you know, that's why definitely being comfortable with the decisions you make in life, and especially with your time, is important, right? You're only gonna be as successful as the things you put your time into.
Right. And on a business, I know I kind of went off and it was kind of personal. On a business standpoint, boundaries, saying yes to everyone is not your client. Everyone is not your client.
Yep.
Every person is not your audience, right? So looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, I understand that you want me to discount this, but my value is way too high.
Yep.
I understand this, but my value is no, I get it, but no. So setting boundaries in your business, that can take you to another level. The disadvantage of not setting boundaries is you're gonna be holding yourself back. Sometimes you're gonna have to actually say no to something that looks good, but you gotta dig deep into it because it may not be as good.
Mm.
And then from there, then you gotta look at it from a standpoint of, all right, how's these boundaries today gonna help me down the line? Like you asked me, well, these boundaries are gonna help you because now you're setting yourself up and you're holding yourself or your business at a standard. Too many people, when they have businesses, they lower their standards just to please other people. You can't please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get to the next level, you got to stand your ground, stand on business. Because without standing on business, you ain't standing on nothing.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm preaching today.
Yeah, you talking. I tell you, man, good food will get you. That's not a sponsor right now. That's just a drink that I enjoy. Yeah, but we taking sponsorships. It's not right now. The check gotta make sense. But
yeah. Boundaries.
Hey, boundaries. But no, back to the entrepreneur piece. I think boundaries are like super, super important when it comes to business. I know we're kind of pivoting talking about personal and relating to the business, but right. But I think no, that's so pivotal because a lot of times, and I've experienced this when I first get started, and you probably too, and a lot of entrepreneurs that initially when they get started with I don't care what the business is, you're so fixated on building this clientele or this book of business that you'll take anybody that's interested that give you a chance, right? Like you'll be like, hey, I'll take Bobby Johnson from around the corner. I mean, he can't do nothing for me, but he wanted to pay for this, and I'm offering this product or service. So having those boundaries really establish yourself. And it's funny because I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs, and the one that have high ticket selling items, they always tell me, your value is going to be in what people are willing to pay for. So if you sell, like you said, if you sell yourself short, right? If I want to, let's say I had a consulting program, and I sold that program for $10.
Right.
Somebody that maybe the clients that I want to attract are going to look at that and be like, wow, you know, he's good. You know, I've heard a lot of good stuff, but I mean, he's selling stuff for $10, right? That's so.
He might be trash.
Yeah, like you're telling me indirectly that that's what you believe what you're selling is worth, or your time is worth, and it's crazy because I know millionaires and billionaires say all the time the most important asset that they own currently is time. Because once you spend it, that's the only thing in this universe that you can't get back. Right? So definitely having those boundaries to establish your brand, establish the clientele you're seeking out, and really ride that journey because you may have a product or a service that's worth $500,000 or $1 million. But you'll never know if you're only taking the short wins, right? You gotta really believe in what you're selling. And if you believe in what you're selling and you feel like you possess the value of it accurately and stick to it, and like you said, enforce those boundaries, it won't pay off in the short term, but in the long term, you'll be years ahead. You'll be years ahead because then there'll be an association with, hey, if you're coming to this place, that's why I can talk about somebody that charges $400,000 for a class, because I know that there's an association that dealing with this person or having X amount of time or access to this person times the revenue you're bringing up is going to make it skyrocket, and that's what the value is. Everyone's trying to scale up, grow their business, have it automated. You don't get to those things without having the right people around.
Right.
We're preaching here.
Say it again. I don't think. Hey, say it for the people in the back. I don't think they heard you, man. I don't think they heard you.
Listen, I don't know if I can say it the same way because this is getting straight from the source. But what I'm saying is, I can identify with someone who makes $400,000 because they are telling me, or I've seen it, the value that they believe that they can bring to you is going to increase your whatever your goal is. So my thing is, pay that person that's charging $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, etc., X amount of dollars, because they're that confident in the product and what they're giving back to you that more than likely they're saying, hey, you're giving me $1, I'm giving you $10 back, but I'm only charging you for $5. That's how they see it. And if you're willing to and make that an investment, man, oh man, you clap that, man. Hey, I'm telling you, one. But yeah,
no, you good. That's loud right there.
That's good. That's
got me hyped. What?
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at with it. I'm like, after that mentor of mine has changed my life on how I see things. Like, it makes sense. If I told you, man, you can give me $1 and I can turn it to 10, would you think that's a good deal?
Oh yeah, let's run.
If I said you give me $10, I'll give you $1,000, would you think that's a good deal?
I'm running.
If I told you give me this $1,000 and I'll turn it to $1 million, guaranteed, would you do it?
I'm running.
And in that logic is the answer. You will invest in things that you want the results in. Why would you not go to someone who's in the same industry as you, who's already gone through all the trenches? You're paying to avoid those mistakes.
Yeah.
Literally. And when people will understand that simple concept, it's no business that you can't start. Because you don't have, like, and that's what people get confused, like, oh, why would I pay him $5,000? Why would I pay him $400,000? Because you're paying for his experiences. You're paying for his bruises. That way you don't have to endure that. You telling me I could essentially pay you X amount of dollars and I can know what it's like to be shot without having any bodily damage, and I'm not going to take that deal.
We good.
You sound crazy. That's what I'm saying.
They pay two ways, bro.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, you're going to pay two ways. You're going to pay with your personal experience, and or most of the time it's you're going to pay someone else's experience. Now, if you pay with your personal experience,
more expensive.
Let's use that same example. So if it's, hey, he got shot, so now you got to get shot to go tell a story that this person already done showed you, hey, this is how I feel, this is how you overcome, this is what's what. So now you got to go get shot. Go through all the pain that you ain't got the heart for. Most people don't have the heart for what they think they got. They just want to jump in it because they see this person making money. But you don't know the hell and the trenches and all that they went through. So they're trying to help you jump hurdles to get to where they are without going through the dark places. But you want to figure it out, so go figure it out. Now you're going to pay the doctor visit. You're going to pay you're gonna pay all this money. You're gonna pay a lot of money. Which, say if it's $5,000, you're about to pay over $250 to $300 to $400,000, right?
Preaching, man.
Now this person over here is saying, hey, for $5,000, I can show you what I've gone through. I can show you, but by showing you that $5,000, I'm actually going to help you get $250. 300 to 400,000. Now you have an option. Either step out on faith, and or step out on your own understanding. And when we go out on our own, I don't mean to go in the Bible, but when we go on our own understanding without the covering, right? Without that covering, you know how much hell and high water most people go through?
You ain't lying.
You pay two ways.
Yeah. You're gonna pay a little, you're gonna pay a lot, but you're gonna pay something. And what you willing to pay?
And it comes with a whole bunch of time that you ain't got to waste.
And you ain't lying about that. You are not lying about that.
So, distance creates discipline. This is another favorite of mine. What do you, when you think of it, what comes to mind? Because I know, and most people don't know, we met up at Starbucks, and this is one of the things you pinpointed and that stood out.
Yeah.
Why this? Why this particular topic?
Man, you asked a lot of questions there. One,
I'm giving you everything.
I know. I'm like, this is deep.
I gotta give you the sandwich.
So yeah, definitely did. So I think why creating disciplines, really stood out to me is because a lot you see it in a lot of movies. You gotta have discipline. You hear from a lot of different either speakers or entrepreneurs saying you gotta have discipline. But it's like, yeah, okay, you're telling me I need to have this thing to be successful or to reach this goal. How do I create that? Right? Because like we spoke about at the beginning of the show, you can inherit bad habits from birth. Like you just inherit it, or you're being in this particular environment that you have no control over, by the way, right? As a child, and you can inherit or be influenced by these bad habits, right? But creating disciplines takes a lot more work because essentially, most of the time, discipline follows disruption from your pattern behavior. So if you're used to hanging out with your boys every Friday night, every Saturday night, every Thursday night, drinking, carrying on, doing whatever, right? And you say, hey, you know what? I want to put these 3 days that I'm putting my boys, and I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to focus on starting a business, or focus on doing a podcast, or focus on writing a book. Essentially, that's going to cause disruption within your current friend group because they're accustomed to this time being allocated to this particular activity. But once you create that discipline, naturally it's going to enforce some type of boundary around it because at that point you're committed to what your goals are. And it's hard because going out with your friends is the comfort zone, right? That's what you're accustomed to doing day in and day out. So to step outside of that comfort zone, whether it's with your family, whether it's with friends, is extremely difficult. And I commend anybody that's willing to do it, but you have to understand that there's going to be some growing pains because you're putting yourself in unfamiliar territory. So you're going to have that anxiety. You're going to have that, man, did I make the right decision? Man, maybe I should go out with the fellas and get a drink, or maybe I should go to this cookout or be seen or talk to people. I don't want to think. That stuff kicks in, right? Because we're so, again, complacency loves comfortability, right? If you want a guaranteed way to stay complacent, keep the same people around you for 5, 10 years while they not change nothing in their habits and see where you end up. I promise you will be the 5th person that's doing the same thing that you was doing 5, 10 years ago. I went to college with people. I'm like, I don't see a difference from when they started as a freshman to them being 10, 12 years removed from school. So I say that, because those disciplines weren't created, you just out there, right? The discipline creates preparation to allow you to have boundaries to reach your goals, wherever that might be. You want that Fortune 500 job? I promise you, you're not going to get it. I'm talking fast.
You're good. I'm following.
You're not going to get it investing your time in things that's not going to help you grow, right? And in the hardest area of this, which I still wrestle with like day in, day out, is with family, right? My family probably think I'm a ghost because they feel they have that entitlement sense of, we saw you grow from a young boy to a man, right? Like, we invested time and energy into you. Yeah, you did, but you gotta understand, I'm trying to do something that's never been done. And I know that if I don't create these disciplines now and enforce these boundaries, yeah, I might make you happy in the process, but it ain't gonna make me happy because I'm gonna look 10 years down the line like, damn, why didn't I start that business?
Yeah, that's true.
Why didn't I jump in doing the podcast? Why? I had to go fly out and go see family, or you know how many birthdays, weddings, all kinds of stuff I done missed moving to Tampa, but I'm like, it's fine. I've learned to be okay with saying these are the disciplines that I want to create because I know this is going to help me have a better life, and I'm okay with it coming.
I'm with you when you're right, and you said something as far as family sees you when you're young up until a grown man. The one thing that they don't see is that each level or each phase is just that a phase. It has a stage. And in the midst of certain stages, in order to grow, you evolve. And think about it. So as a kid, coming out the womb, you were in a small womb. As an adult, we can't be in that same womb. Why? Because that womb was fit for that infant. The clothes you had start to change and you start to grow. That doesn't go without saying that on the other end, as a kid, your mindset grows. You start to build dependency. You start to see where you want to be. You start to evolve. Those that don't expand their mindset, which we talked earlier, they feel as an adult, I'm adult, I have an ID, it says this, but in actuality, they still have that kid mind. That's why they stay around family that's holding them back for so long. But when you evolve and grow as a man, you gotta realize some people you just gotta shake. Some people
can't take everybody with you.
You can't, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, everybody has a time in life. So if you allow yourself to be held on to their time, you're just dying with them.
That's deep. That's deep, brother.
It's just, you're evolving to be an overall just better person. So it's not that I don't love you, but I have to remove myself for the love I have for you so that I can be a better me. And if you don't understand that, you will
at some point.
Due time.
Yeah.
But
so,
that's how I look at it, man.
Well, one thing I picked up that you said, it was like you evolved. So let me ask you this: like in that context of evolving and growing and developing, how did you manage those relationships when you're like, listen, like I can't like. I know where you're at. When I come back home, I got you, but I can't take you here with me, right? Like, how did you manage that relationship, and what was that conversation like? Or, is it something you still deal with today, for that matter?
I still deal with today. There's many, like, along the way, and how I've done it. Not always the best. I'll keep it G.
Yeah.
It wasn't always great where I was, it was a great combo, but how I did it was, hey, this is what I want to do in my life. How do you feel about it? Oh, and they start, people telling themselves why they shouldn't be in your life.
Yep.
People tell, oh, how do you feel about me opening up this beauty salon? Oh, nah, people ain't gonna do this. People ain't gonna yada 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 yada. Oh, you know what? I appreciate you. Thank you. But I believe, and let me let you know something. I connected with Quan. He helped me on actually structuring my business. I connected with this person, and he connected me to actually get the commercial building, and it's being paid for. And matter of fact, I don't have to pay for 3 years. This person, and then he started showing them the people that you start bringing around you to build you up, and then you let them know, hey, at this moment in time, what I need, remember I talked about the energy thing, what I need is great energy. So let me get there, and I'll be back. I'm gonna holler at you. I'm just not gonna be around for a while because I gotta grow.
Right.
And either they want to level up, or the atmosphere is just too different, and they can't.
The conversation changes, and they can't change with it.
Hey, what do you think about this, bro? I kid you not. That question has I've done that to my mom, bro.
Wow.
Y'all won't do it to your mom.
Yeah.
Y'all won't do it. I'm telling you, y'all won't do it to your mom. But I did it. Hey, what do you think about this? Oh, well, Malcolm, this, and the third, and I don't know if it's gonna work. Okay, mom. Hey, give me a few weeks. I'm gonna holler at you. I'm gonna make sure you talk to the little one, but I'm gonna talk to you. Oh, what? We're good. A few weeks later, oh, hey, mom. Here, 300. Yeah. Oh, that business I told you that I was gonna start, and girl, I got people running it now.
Right.
The conversation is different, but you got to be willing to have that conversation. So, yeah, man, it's just one of those things. Distance is hard, but how long should you be distant?
I'm gonna be honest. That's a you question, right? Because that's so specific to the person where and this is where you really gotta have a serious conversation with yourself, right? I always joke about. I'm like, I talk to myself. I'm like, if I need to really like plan some stuff out, that's when I do my reflection because I'm like, you have to. So you gotta be honest. You can lie all day. You only gonna be lying literally to yourself.
Yeah, right. In the mirror.
Yeah. So you realize where you spend your time. You realize what you reflect on where your life is, whether you enjoy it, you don't. Whether you're in a place of financial maturity, whether you're in a place of financial gain or loss. You are aware of where you're at in life, right? You can be delusional with everybody else. When you look in the mirror, you gotta deal with that person that's staring back at you. That's when you gotta be authentic, because there's no judgment there. It's just, it is what it is. You reflecting, right? So I think really understanding where you invest your time, the people you invest your time with, determines how long you should be. So if I'm hanging out with a guy a male friend of mine for like 6 months, a year, and I feel like within that time, like we haven't had any conversations that benefit each other, or we haven't grown as men, being in a friendship, I gotta start evaluating like, is this? Do I need to continue to put as much energy as I'm putting there, right? It may mean, hey, bro, I'm about to lock in real quick for the next couple of months. It might be 3 months. It might be a year. It really just depends on the value that relationship is bringing to your life, and are you in a space where you're still growing, being challenged, even if it's just having. I love people that's the opposite of me, because even if we have difference in opinion, I can find growth in our conversation, our differences. You know what I mean?
We have a lot of opposite conversations.
Exactly, but I think that's where you grow at, and when you're comfortable with that, it's like a feeling you can't even imagine. But a lot of people, they'll rather hang out with people, like you said, that agree with you. Like if I have a kid mentality and I hang out with my family who only sees me as that same 13, 11-year-old kid, there's no one challenging me to be a man or do what a man would do, right? Because in their mind, time has remained the same since I was 8. I'm a grown man now. I got bills. I need to find a job. I want to have a family, things like that. Those cost money. So having an 8-year-old mindset, treating this child as 8, like he's 8 and they're 18, 25, whatever, it's not beneficial because you're not in this space to grow.
Alright, so I agree 100%. I feel like there's no, like you said, it's a you question. There's no specific time when it comes to being distant. You just gotta know you. You just gotta know you. 100%. If distance, 100% is important, bro. It's 100% important because if you notice, there's people that when you think church, I don't want to go to church, but think church, they go in a fast. I know one of my pastor, he goes in a prayer for, depends on how, a whole week, 2 weeks, he goes on a fast. He separates himself to in the first few days, he's probably, what is it called when you're fasting, but the first few days you gotta get rid of like the
detoxing, like
he's
detoxing
from the world, and now he's reconnecting to higher powers. In business, in life, you gotta, at some point in time, it's gonna take a while because you're gonna have those withdrawals. Oh man, I should be turning up. I should go hoop. I should go do this. I should do this. And then after a while, it starts becoming not just withdrawals. Now it's like, okay, I can do it. I can do it. And you start push yourself to uncomfortability, and then you start seeing growth. So I feel like there's no important time, but it's very important. Study. I mean, find out who you are. It's a lot that you can do when you distance yourself. Today's conversation took me back to like childhood. All the way around, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good episode too.
Yeah.
I'm actually super thrilled we did it because I think we touched on a lot of different pieces that people can just like reflect on, right? Which is the goal.
Man, I can't wait. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that.
In other words, we got some stuff cooking. Is what he's saying.
I just got hyped.
Yeah, we're gonna do another banger for that one. You don't do that. So again, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, sir.
They didn't think we was gonna get here, but we here.
They thought we never would have made
Oh,
it.
I don't do the singing. That's him all day, man. Don't put a microphone in front of him. Start singing like Keith Sweat or something.
Hey, for real. Without the kids.
Hey, listen. This guy is crazy. This guy. Well, thank you again for joining the channel. I hope you enjoy the content. This guy is crazy. Hope you enjoy the content. Again, we out here. You know, the goal of our show really is to build that bridge from the 1%ers to the 99 percentile. And we want to say thank you. If you like the context, you enjoy the conversation, like, subscribe, share to everyone you know, because this information is only as powerful as the people that we give it to. So again, thank you for that, and we'll see y'all later.